So here's what you need to do. I've got some steps here of how you can put together your plan that will sustain your church. And our plan and your plan and most plans need to be 5 years.
Right.
When you develop the plan, it needs to be a 5-year plan.
That's right.
You're already into this quadrennial, so your 5 years are going to take you past the next quadrennial. That's all right. Don't do 5 early. Now, here's what you do. You get to 5 or however many you want.
Okay.
I ain't sitting here trying to tell y'all, y'all got to go back and decide.
Yes, sir.
You know, you may not have a 3 that really, or 4, you may end up with 6. I don't know.
That's right.
But you got to have leaders of each one.
Right.
You set your first meeting. The Board of Christian Education Director, Vice President of the Board, and all of that, and the pastor, and those leaders come together for that first initial meeting. So you're talking about at least 8 or 10 people. Because you don't want your initial meeting to be too big. Because it's too big, you're gonna get a whole lot of different and you can't get off of first base. So you do it that way. You charge each focus group leader with the task of coming up with, and we said 10 goals. And the reason we said 10 goals because it's 5 years.
Right.
Okay? 5-year, 10 goals. The focus group do not put the objectives with the goals. That's the duty and responsibility of the whole congregation. I'm going to come back to that. All the focus group do is come up with the goals for that particular area of ministry. For instance, 10 goals for worship. You know, whatever you want to put in there. And go back, run all the way to the back, and I'll just show you an example of how we set it up. This one is not worship, but
Which page now?
the last page, 9.
All right.
See, I tried to bring you everything you need.
Yes, sir. You all right? Good.
I got gold. This now. What's one of ours over here? Children, youth, and young adults. Okay. And it says empower children, youth, and young adults to live a disciple of Jesus Christ in our world today. That's the goal. The objective is to provide 2 lessons a month. This is one of the goals, and then you see how we did it.
That's right.
That's just an example.
Right.
Okay. All your goals got to be measurable.
Right.
Measurable means the time frame to get there. The objective is how you're going to get there. All right? Question? We good? Now y'all can go back to where we were. You get the 5 focus group. That's the initial meeting. That's step 3. Pastor had to do some teaching to help you understand where you're trying to go. Some of the guiding principles, what we did was, you got to come to the meeting with love for Jesus. Learn Jesus' ways, Jesus' new ways, not your ways, Jesus' ways. And then you got to lead by example. In other words, this is for each group, each leader. These 5, 7 areas is what each group got to look at, think about what you're going to do. All right? Each group got to do in step 4, and watch this. Each group works on their particular area, but every group develops a mission statement, a vision statement, and a core value statement. Each, that's going to be, if you got 5, that's going to be 5. Now, you ain't going to have no 5 vision statements. I'm going to tell you how that's going to work in a minute. A vision is this. Where are we going? It's right there on your thing.
That's right.
Each group got to develop a vision statement. I don't think I brought an example of ours. I meant to bring my whole plan that we did, but I didn't.
All right.
But most of you can understand where we're going. As Morning Chapel is a church designed to be out in the community. You follow me? Vision.
Right.
I ain't trying to write it for you.
Right.
I ain't give you no more of that.
We got one down.
I know, but you got to redo it
Yeah, we're gonna redo it.
for the next 5.
Right.
Okay.
That's why whatever the church vision is now,
Right.
you put that in front of the 5 focus group.
Right.
And you allow them to develop a vision statement within their group.
Right.
And I might want to tell you, then when the whole church come together, these 5 vision groups, 5 visions from each group is up there. Then it is combined
All right.
into one. You take something, there you go, you take something from each one. And you do that for the simple reason, everybody took part.
Right.
Nobody feels like they were left out.
Right.
You follow me?
All right.
And it's easy for them to buy into it.
Right.
Okay. Mission is how we get there. Mission leads to objectives. Mission leads you into objectives. How we get there. The core values is what we believe.
That's right.
Well, a lot of that is simple. It's really taken from our beliefs as Methodists and as CMEs. You can add to it. Don't ever be some of these folks that think that, you know, we're on a plantation and you can't do something
Right.
that ain't in that book of discipline.
All right.
The book of discipline, beloved, is only a guide.
That's a guy. Right. Right.
It's not so narrow and strict that you can't do something outside of it.
That's right. That's right.
That's what's stifling our church. We so busy. The discipline said, well, what did Jesus say? Because he ain't in the discipline.
All right. All right.
That's right. What did Jesus say?
Yeah, he was before we had a discipline. So what did he say? So you do not just limit yourself to the core values that's in the book of discipline. Because your core values, I tell everybody, we're a connection to church, but we're individuals too.
Yes. True. Yes.
And so an individual church, based on where you located, core values may be somewhat different from the general church core values.
Yeah.
A church out in the country ain't gonna even have the same core values as Morning Chapel here in the city.
That's right.
So you gotta take all of that into consideration.
Yes, sir.
What we did with our focus group, we set a time frame. They met every 2 weeks, so to speak, or every week, or once a month, or however you want to do it. Ours met every 2 weeks for about 3 months. Because we didn't rush it.
Right.
And that way they worked on their 10 goals, vision, mission, and core value. That's what they're working on.
All right.
10 goals, vision, mission, core value. Each one of the focus groups. And if they really work, it's going to take 2 to 3 months. And they did that. Then the pastor and the director brought the focus groups back together at the end of that time frame. They go over what each one say, no change, because that's left up to the congregation. All right? Because you got some folks that be working in evangelism that'll want to change something in worship. That ain't your group.
Right.
So when they come back together, you have to make sure they understand you can't change nothing in nobody else's group.
That's right.
Some of it is going to overlap.
It is.
You work that out
Right.
when you get to the main congregation. That make any sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You begin with the end in mind. That's in other words, you start, each focus group, you have to tell them, where do you want to be at the end? And work your way back. I used to teach this in preaching.
Yes, sir.
A lot of preachers start with their sermon at the beginning.
No, sir.
That's why it don't never end right.
Right.
That's good.
That's right.
All right. All right.
That's right. Yeah.
Preach, Reverend.
Do that.
I always write my end
Right.
first,
Right.
and I go back and put the other end.
That's right.
So that when I get out to the end, you know, I can say, oh Lord, Jesus is. Close it out there. Already put it in. So you're going to work from the end.
Right.
Where are we going to be in 5 years?
5 years. Yes, sir.
Then you come back and start talking about how we going to get there.
How you gonna get there?
The focus groups, okay? Now you see I said provided deadline 3 to 4 meetings.
All right.
That's not the time frame, that's the number of meetings. I don't know, you might want to do it every week, but every week kind of don't give the people in that group enough time to start thinking about stuff and let them digest and let the Spirit of God move.
Right.
We said, 4 meetings, but they were spaced out every 2 weeks, so to speak.
Okay.
So when you had that first meeting, you talk about some things, each one of those members in that group go back and do some homework on what's they looking at in their own group. Each focus leader can select their own members. Each focus leader gonna have about 4 to 5 members, or 2 or 3, based on the size of the church or whatever you can do, to put in each focus group. When the leader don't need to do it by themselves. They need 3 or 4 members working with them to come up with the 10 goals. If you can't come up with 10, you might want to say, well, we can't do a 5 in 5 years, or 7 or whatever. My director of Christian education, she wasn't stopping with less than 10. Y'all know her, Charlotte Moore.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was supposed to be with me today, but she decided she wanted to go to a banquet.
Okay.
I said, I'm gonna excuse you this time.
This time.
I said, but I told you when we do this, you need to be present.
Yes, sir.
Because all of this is her work. I stayed out of it until we met.
Right.
And then I gave my little input. I wanted the church to own it.
That's right.
If I do it, they're not gonna own it. That Reverend did that. That was Reverend playing. No, it's Morning Chapel's playing.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
Yes, that's right.
So I want to buy into it. Pablo said our goals can only be reached through a vehicle of a plan. If you don't plan, you're playing to fail.
Yes, sir.
It's a plan in which we fervently believe. That's why you got the focus group. Because when they start putting it together and thinking, they say, oh, this is good, we believe this, we can make this happen. In the focus groups. And so the focus groups then will have the opportunity to present when we come back, and 7 to the congregation. Because you believed it.
That's right.
Okay? Meeting, step 5 is the next meeting. This is the one I was telling you that when you come back after you done had these 3 or 4 meetings, the focus groups come back with their selected goals. In the focus group, all you're doing is just reading them and presenting them. If somebody in the other group want to ask a question, that's fine. They can't change it. Remember that now. They can't change it. That's the church's job. The church might say, we don't want that. So you take it out. But the focus group can't do it. Okay? That's why we have Fisher Board, because Fisher Board want to change stuff and you don't have the power. Only people have power is church conference. So why am I going to give you that power and then I got to turn around and do it again in the church conference?
That's right.
Okay. In this last meeting, bullet number 2, you set the date for the entire congregation to participate in the 5-year strategic plan. You set the date. We call it a church-wide retreat. That's what we called it. It was a church-wide retreat we had. Well, this over here, I'll tell you what all we put into that. You got to announce it to the congregation and all of that. We had meals. You got to come up with all the items and all this stuff, pencils and, people got to write. They got to write. You got to give them the sheets for them to write their ideals. And then everybody in the congregation is placed in one of those groups on the morning of, well, now it was 2 days. We started on Friday, because you can't finish it. You can't finish it in no half a day on no Saturday. We started on Friday evening at 6. We had dinner, spaghetti or whatever you want, free. Everybody ate. You gotta make black folk out to eat. You have something, you ain't got no food, you just done left all of out. You left all out. I'm not going up there, I'm hungry. So after we got through eating, and then I, did the initial talk about what it was, what we planned to do, where we're trying to go. Took about 5 minutes. Then I let Charlotte present this. The strategic plan of the 5 years. And when I say presented, the focus groups, what they were, why we got them together and all of that. And then we broke them up. Now here's how we broke them up. They could not choose where they wanted to go. The members of the focus group that was already there, they stayed with that group on that retreat. All of the other members, when they came in, we had yellow, green, red, purple, blue. That's 5. When you registered and walked in, you got yellow. The next person they went all the way through, come back. So they, in a group, well, they gonna have to use their mind for real, because it ain't something that you may necessarily like.
Each color was part of the...
Each color represented one of the 5
groups.
Yeah.
Okay.
Each color represented a particular focus group. Yeah. The director is not in a focus group, because you got to float from group to group. The pastor is not in the focus group. Pastor got to float. There may be questions that come up. Do you hear me? It gets so good and the people be so happy and excited, at least I was, let me just put it like that.
Right.
I can't speak for nobody. This is not a theory. He told you that earlier. I was always already up and going. Because we finished it last June. I presented it at the annual conference. So, 5 color groups. Randomly picked. Then you have to get up, and the pastor has to get up on that Friday evening and say what their responsibilities are.
That's right.
You gotta work on these 10 goals. The goals are already there.
Right,
The
right.
congregation cannot change the goals. No. Because if you do that, then you ain't gonna never get where you need to go. Some responsibility is the focus groups. That's why you do it. What the congregation responsibilities are is to add the objectives to each goal. And if you got 10 of them, it's gonna take a minute. And we wanted it to take a minute. Because you may not in 5 years accomplish all 10. But think about it, if you got 10 and you do 5 or 6, you would have done a yeoman job. If you make 5 or 6 out of that 10 work. For instance, evangelism. Increase the membership by 10% in 5 years. Know what the membership is? Multiply it times 10, and then that's what your focus is, to get that many members in-house in 5 years. That's an objective.